Hey guys, Anthony Jones here, and we got Eric from Atypical Outdoors. Be sure to check his channel out. He's local to my area, and Eric owns a Pelican bass raider. Guys, he's brought this bad boy over, and we are going to install something even better on it. It is a Garmin Striker 7 SV. And I know that he's excited. It is a nice unit, guys. We're going to be installing that step by step today. We're also going to be installing a Scotty Transducer Arm as well as a RAM mount for the electronic unit. So thank you guys for joining us. I hope you can take something away from this video as always, and may your tiny boat builds be great. All right guys, we're going to be using a couple things. We're going to be doing a RAM mount for the unit itself. This again is the unit. It's a Garmin Striker Plus 7 SV. And of course we're going to do a Scotty Transducer Arm, which I've never done one of these before, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. All this stuff is available on Amazon. I'm going to link it down below. That's where Eric got it from. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm unboxing the old transducer arm, looking at the instructions, seeing all the parts, trying to figure that out. Eric is over here. And he is he's taking out the bad boy, the beautiful new unit. Look at that. And he's gonna kind of look at those instructions, figure a couple things out. Then we're gonna formulate a game plan of exactly where he wants this mounted, where he wants the RAM mount mounted, and then how we're gonna do that unit, and just kind of see what we've got. So just going through our packages and just formulating a game plan. What I've decided to do is go ahead and put this together first. That way I can figure out the transducer and how it mounts to it. And guys, I'm not going to show this full process step by step, but there's a lot of parts. I'm just going to put it together and then we're going to go from there. Okay, quickly got that unit put together. It's pretty cool, guys. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with this when I get it mounted to the boat. It's adjustable in a lot of different ways, and you have actually had the option of taking this mount and mounting it a couple different ways as well. It's got a locking mechanism in the bottom to ensure that this doesn't pop out. A lot of cool things going on here by the folks at Scotty, but we're going to go ahead and dig deeper into the transducer itself and then how we're going to mount this to the boat. All right, guys, so Eric's been on his phone. He's been on Pelican Bass Raiders and Bass Hunter Style Boats group on Facebook, seeing how a lot of these guys are running these units. And basically what we've come up with is we're going to take this and we're going to mount it right here on the side of the boat. That's going to get him into the water plenty of deep. This is fully adjustable, and there's actually extensions that you could order online for this that it does not come with if you need more depth, but we're perfectly happy with this location. We're going to go ahead and then mark this out with pencil and then drill some holes and permanently attach it to the boat. Okay, for this mount, guys, what I've decided to use is stainless steel screws. These are number 14 by 1 inch. And if you see this head size and the threading, it actually fits perfectly through, locks into place. The Scotty mount does not come with screws, plenty of room coming out the back. And the biggest thing about this is the threading size is the exact diameter is the hole size. Therefore, it's not going to vibrate and rattle around on whatever screws. So this, I feel, is the best fit of all the stainless steel that I have. And we're going to go ahead and pre-drill the holes, mark it out, drill the holes, and then mount it with these screws. All right, drill my pilot holes. I'm using a 1/8 drill bit. I'm going to go ahead and I got my first hole drilled. And what I typically like to do is drill one hole, mount my bracket, put the screw in, get it exactly where I want it, and then drill the other 3 holes, and then mount my other 3 screws. If you try to drill all 4 holes at the same time without anything permanently mounted, a lot of times you're going to have trouble. On a plastic boat like this, I don't want to have any trouble or drill any holes in the wrong spot, so we will make sure we do it right the first time. Okay, all mounted up. Quick note, I did come back and hand tighten these guys. When I use that impact drill, I don't go balls to the wall. I like to just get the screws started and then hand tighten them. It's very easy to get a little bit overpowered and strip out that plastic. So I just got them in there, got them started, hand tighten them, and torqued them down by hand. All right, on to the transducer to figure that out and see how it actually mounts to this. Let's get it. This unit in particular comes with a lot of goodies. So more money you spend, more parts you get. So it's got a couple different options as far as how you're going to mount the transducer. What we figure is going to work best for us with this particular setup is to go ahead and take this bracket, mount it to the transducer, and then as far as all the other hardware, we're not going to need any of that. This bracket's got a hole in it. We're going to take our bolt with our nylon threaded nut, and we're just going to bolt it right to here and then run the wire up and through and then move on from there. If anything changes, I'll let you know, but I think that's our game plan. Just taking these and installing this bracket onto the transducer. All right guys, with this, I am putting these on with a hand screwdriver. Again, I wouldn't use a drill on this, just to make sure these are tight. Hand torque them, and we're gonna move on. Got it all mounted up, and it's pretty simple. Once we figured out exactly what we wanted to do, we ended up going with a factory Garmin bolt that was meant to attach it to this unit, transom mount bracket, and all we did was run it through the Scotty mount, and then go on the other side with a nylon lock nut. And then I upgraded our washers. Garmin actually supplied a rubber washer and then a small stainless washer. I went with stainless on both sides, just larger grade washers, just to give it a little bit more bite. So we've got this thing where we think it needs to be for the most part by eyeballing it, but it's fully adjustable by loosening these and raising this arm up or down. It kind of slides onto this. And so, you know, when Eric's on the water, he can get it exactly where it needs to be and fine tune it, raise it or lower it if necessary. This unit's got side imaging, so he may have to make some adjustments out on the water, but for now, we got it where we think we want it. All right, moving forward with the ram mount bracket. Eric wants it up front, so I've already pre-drilled my pilot holes for this. It's gonna go like so. Because this is a flat area, guys, and water can accumulate in here, we don't want any water getting inside of the boat. So what I'm going to do with this bracket is I'm going to coat some of the bottom of it in the old 3M 5200 adhesive sealant, and then also going to take some of this and put it around the threads of the screws. And as I screw those in, they should lock that hole up. And the screws I'm using are number 10 3/4 inch stainless steel. That's what I'm talking about around that screw. As that drives in, it should push that sealant up and it should lock that hole. And I've also put just a little bit around the perimeter of those holes. You know, you don't have to go crazy with it, guys. You're just trying to seal those small holes to prevent water from getting in. After looking at this thing, what seemed like a lot of wires really is not. You've got this wire with the orange actually plugs into this wire with the orange. You've got two connectors that are going to go in the back of this unit here, and then you've got your power lead that comes out of the back of the unit, and then I believe this is an inline fuse that it comes equipped with, which is pretty cool, and some other wires you just wire in for your power. So fairly simple. We're going to kind of go through this a little bit more and get it figured out and get it put together, get this thing mounted on the ram mount, and then kind of go from there. Okay, going to go ahead and take the bracket that Garmin supplied for this unit, and we're going to mate this to the ram mount aftermarket bracket. Ram does not supply any hardware, so we're going to take some 8/32 stainless bolts and some 8/32 nylon lock nuts and go ahead and use 4 of them to mount these two together. It's got that all mounted up. This thing is really, really sweet. I like these so much. Believe it or not, I actually have a round mount on my boat, but my depth finder is not this nice. So we're going to go ahead and mount this to this. And what we're going to do here is go ahead and take the supplied hardware that Garmin provided us. We are not using their bracket because we replaced it with a ram mount. Going to go ahead and get this and put that on. Oh, upside down. My phone.
There you go. That would be different upside down.
This thing is really, really sweet, guys. This is, again, the Garmin factory bracket mounted to the adjustable ram mount, and this thing moves a lot of different degrees. So very, very cool. So obviously this wire here, all right, goes into this wire. So orange goes to orange, they mate together, and then Garmin has included this little fitting that actually goes over that once you mate them together. Going to connect those. Quick note, Garmin's instructions, this is what you got. It's not a lot to work with. This image is not the same as this, but common sense will tell you this band it's red. It actually goes over this, and then when these go together, it actually forms a seal and keeps water and moisture from getting in there. Then these snap together and cover that up. I'm going to show you what that looks like in 1 second. And then you'll notice that on the inside of these, I don't know if you can see that, there's actually threads. Okay, so this threaded side will overlap the threaded side, and on this other part, it's flat. So this flat side will overlap this flat side, and that's going to lock it together when it snaps over. Okay, Garmin went all Da Vinci Code on us and has used some symbolism here to determine which wire goes where. You've got 1 dot here, you've got 2 dots on this middle one, and then your power's got a dot. Obviously, They've put a slot on the side of these wires. If it's got one, okay, it's going to go in the XDCR, and then the other one for your side views got 2 slots, and it's going to match up to that. I don't know if you could see how this has grooves on the sides. See how this one has 1 groove, 2 grooves, so that's going to go in the middle for my side view, so on and so forth. This shows you the back of the unit and what goes where. So all we're doing at this point is we've got this hooked up, went ahead and plugged a few of them in, and now we're going to work on getting power to the unit and figuring out the rest. Garmin made this install very simple, guys. It comes with a fuse on your power to your positive, your blue and your brown wires. It says in the instructions, it says blue and brown are only needed for sharing data with another EcoMap or Striker device. So we're not doing that. So we have nothing for the brown or blue to go to. Then obviously your black is going to go to your Nego and your battery. Going to go ahead and wire this up, and then we're going to clean up these wires, and then we'll be done on the install. Okay, guys, kind of working with what we got here. I'm going to take these terminal connectors, although they're made for larger grade wire. So I'm going to attach some, I believe this is 12 gauge to that, and I'm going to lead off, and then I'm going to splice in and attach it to this, just so we could have a connection for these batteries. There's a lot of different ways to do this, guys. It's just working with what I got in this box to kind of make this happen. I'm going to go ahead and put it all together, and I'll show you more in a second. Just taking my Wagner heat gun, and I'm heat shrink wrapping these ends. This heat shrink wrap that I'll use, I'm going to leave a link in the description. This stuff is awesome, man. It's got glue inside of it, so when it heats up, the glue comes out the ends and makes a really nice seal. But I'm just putting this over this and just protecting these connections, and then heat shrinking it, and then I'm going to connect these leads into the Garmin leads. Okay, this is kind of what I came up with. So you've got your terminal connectors, you've got your thicker gauge wire coming off, and then you got them crimped and connected with heat shrink wrap. And this is the heat shrink wrap I used, a little electrical toolkit, and we're going to go ahead and plug this wire in and get it mounted in the boat. We're trying to consolidate our wiring, and what I've done here is I've taken these 3/4 inch, I use these for conduit, and I'm just clamping all of our wires down, okay? And we've got our positive and negative lead coming in, and that goes through, and then we've got these going around, okay? But they give you a lot of wire, so we're just neatly bunching all of these leads into one, clamping them down. They're going to remain in the boat, okay? When Eric takes this unit out, he's simply going to unplug these, put the rubber covers over the ends for weatherproofing, and then take the unit off. So pretty simple. Next, we're going to take this wire and go ahead and permanently mount it in, but that's how I'm cooling all of that up nice and neat and out of the way. Oh yeah, looking good, guys. Nice and neat and out of the way. The screws I use to attach that, like everything in this boat, these are stainless 10 by 3/4. Oh yeah, Eric did one thing today.
Success, man.
He snipped, I'm just messing with you. He snipped the zip tie. And that is it. That is complete job. Let's take a look at it. Okay guys, got the wire all routed, and I did it this way. For a certain reason, I'm going to show you in a second why I did it that way, but let's talk about how I did it. Okay, we gave us a little bit of extra wire here, and we were using these clips. Okay, I have a variety of these, all right, and they just screw in to the plastic. We're using number 6 1/2-inch stainless steel screws. We routed around here so we could still keep this cubby hole, and then it just goes inside, okay, and it goes here. We've got this zip tied, and then we've got all the wires coiled with those 3/4 inch clamps. And that's it, man. I think that's a pretty neat job. You've got your 3 inputs going into the back of the unit here, and then obviously your power feed going into your battery with your inline fuse. So that is that's it in a nutshell. And one thing we checked, and why I gave us this extra wire here and made sure that it worked, was because we want to make sure if we flip this up, you'll see that wire loop. It could still go in the boat, okay? And how do I know that? Because the first time I wired it and mounted it, I didn't give myself enough slack, and we couldn't do that. What Eric is probably going to do is he's probably going to leave this thing down for the majority of the time, and when he puts the boat in the back of his truck bed, because this is a very heavy transducer, he's just going to go ahead and make his adjustment here and jack it up, as opposed to flipping it over and risk breaking something. But if he needs to flip it over, he can do so. And for more in-depth videos to see this unit in action out on the water, check out Atypical Outdoors YouTube channel. All right, guys, that's a wrap. We got the Garmin graph installed. It's a Striker Plus. We got the ram mount up front installed that mounts to, that the graph mounts to. And then, of course, we did a Scotty, the arm mount that swings over the side of the boat and holds the transducer, and then all the wiring. And it took me the low time of 4 hours to do all that work. So unfortunately, we're not going fishing now. I told him I could do it in 2, so I guess I'm a liar. I think Eric's a happy camper. He's going to be using this boat on his channel. It's Atypical Outdoors, guys. So subscribe to his channel. Check him out, man. He catches donkeys. I know I build boats, but this guy knows how to fish. So he's going to put this thing in action. And we actually going to have some footage coming up in the future of us fishing together. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to his channel. If you're new to my channel, subscribe to my channel. We're going to try to do some more bass raider stuff, some more John boat stuff, a little bit of everything, guys. That's it for now. So stay tuned for future content. And as always, may your tiny boat builds be great.